Chengli and the Silk Road Caravan, Chapter 9. The nights repeated themselves over and over. During the day, the searing heat of summer burned into Chengli's sleep, leaving him fretful and sullen. During the night, the mind-numbing sameness of the work drove away all thoughts of his father, even his friends, and left only the emptiness of keeping his animals in line. They walked along in the darkness, with moonlight flickering strange shadows across the dunes, and the soft night breeze sending endless layers of sand whistling softly into ever-changing shapes. And so the many weeks dragged on, each exactly like the one before, until finally a day came when sunlight shimmered across the brown desert and bounced off a jagged line of white on the horizon. "Tian Shan, the heavenly mountains!" Master Fang sang out with unusual excitement, pointing to the thin line of white. "Praise be to all the mountain spirits! The mountains reach up into the heavens, and the heavenly spirits pack them with snow. Snow! Snow! Snow melts to water, water fills the rivers. Praise to the spirits! Soon we will eat juicy, sweet, delicious grapes, melons, and pears." Master's voice rose with his excitement, and both arms outstretched, he pointed toward the life-giving snow. Uncle Tao called out, "We will turn west now, to follow along the foot of these mountains. They will be there, on our right, guiding us all the way. Another month to Kucha, more than a month beyond that to Kashgar. Always the mountains will be there alongside of us." Bori came up beside Chengli. "The town of Turpan has been known since ancient times for its grapes and," he sighed and his voice sank, "its heat." "Master Fang was right," complained Dakshesh to Chengli after they had arrived at Turpan and received permission to explore the town. He wiped the sweat off his face with the back of his hand and followed Chengli through the tile-roofed gate with its heavy wooden doors and down one stifling lane and up another. The brown mud-brick buildings looked like those in every other town and village they had visited along the route. The same square houses with fronts open to the street had vendors hovering in the doorways, calling out to passers-by to stop and buy. Dry puffs of dust rose with each footfall. "Look here!" Chengli called as they picked their way through the jostling crowd and turned a corner. A trellis covered with grapevines arched completely over the road, blocking the heat of the sun and filling the air with deep shade and the sweet smell of ripening grapes. "And look over there!" Dakshesh pointed. "That must be something important, because soldiers are guarding a very official-looking gate. That design carved into the wood of the gate, the vines and lotus blossoms, must mean some official or magistrate. They might know about your father." He crossed over to the pair of guards, who quickly lowered their three-pronged spears into an X to block the entrance. "We just want to ask a question," Dakshesh called, keeping out of their reach. "We're looking for news of a man named Inspector Chow." A smile spread across the gruff face of one guard. "Inspector Chow?" he answered. "Heard about him. Never met him. He was here 5, maybe 10 years ago. Why do you ask for him?" Chengli crossed over the road and stood beside Dakshesh. He repeated his story, and the soldier listened intently. "Inspector Chow is rather famous around here. Our commander still talks about him," the soldier said. "Perhaps he will see you. Wait here." He turned and walked through the gate, closing it securely behind him. When he returned, he motioned to Dakshesh and Chengli. "Commander Su will speak with you. Follow me." Chengli and Dakshesh followed the guard through the gate, along the garden path cooled by another grape arbor, and up the steps to the porch where a series of thick cinnabar red pillars, worn, ragged, and dull by time, supported the heavy, curved roof built in the same style of all important buildings in China, even though, Chengli noted, they were 1,000 miles beyond the Great Wall of the Middle Kingdom. Once inside, Chengli pushed his straggly hair back into his topknot and looked around. Ahead of him on a raised platform sat a huge, bearded official in a blue brocade robe of the finest silk, slit up the sides, revealing black silk trousers underneath. Chengli stared in surprise at the man's long white hair hanging loose far down his back, and his wispy white beard hanging equally far down his front. From his seat behind the black lacquered desk, the commander could watch the entire room, where his officials sat on either side, also dressed in embroidered silk, with their hair worn, like their commander, loose and hanging straight down their backs. Everyone stopped working and stared as Chengli and Dakshesh entered. Chengli dropped to his knees. "Halt!" Commander Su held up his hand. "What have we here?" "Honorable sir, the very sight of whom is dear to both gods and men," Chengli's voice began in a soft whisper. "What gifts have you brought me?" the official interrupted. "I have nothing, sir." Chengli winced. Of course, he should have approached any official laden with a pile of gifts, but he had nothing at all. When the official's assistant realized that there were no gifts, he stepped forward to kick out Chengli. The guard interrupted. "If it please you, sir, this is the young boy who says he is the son of Inspector Chow." You? Whispered Commander Sue. You? Dressed as a camel driver, the inspector's son? Impossible! Explain yourself. So once again Chengli told his story, and the commander listened thoughtfully. I didn't know the inspector had a family anywhere along the desert road, said the commander. Government officials go wherever they are sent, and always their families suffer for it. He flicked both hands grandly, and all the clerks returned to their work. Ah! The commander fell silent and gazed at the ceiling as if searching his memory. What a horseman he was! I saw him stage a contest with a nomad Kazakh horse rider down from his mountain home. The Kazakhs are amazing horsemen, and begin riding even before they can walk. Yet the inspector won the contest. Beyond belief! He rode faster than their best man, and made the sharp turns more tightly, racing one hand on the horse and the other in the air. People talked about it for years. Too bad about the bandits. Chengli's head jolted up. Bandits, Your Honor? Ah, yes, bandits caused the loss of one of our best officials, somewhere far to the west, I believe. What a waste. Chengli respectfully looked down again at the floor, but felt his mind go in two directions at once. It was good in a way to know that what old cook in Chang'an had said was really true. His father had indeed been killed by bandits. Knowing this settled the confusion he carried in his mind. But now he also knew he'd never meet his father, and would never be able to ask about the broken piece of jade he carried in his pouch. He wanted to show the commander, but didn't dare. They'd call him a thief. So instead he asked, Please, Your Honor, I've been told that my father had a circle of pale green jade with some writing on it. I often wonder about it. When you knew my father, did you ever see such a piece of jade? No, that's news to me, the commander said. I can tell you nothing about any jade, but music, that I can tell you. He loved to sing, and his favorites were the songs brought down by the nomads from the Tian Shan. He worked in the desert, but he dreamed and sang of the cool green mountains. He didn't stay here long. He asked for a transfer, always going farther west. He spoke of Kucha, the next city to our west, as his favorite town, for the people there are famous for their love of music. Chengli forgot about looking at the floor. In another month we will be in Kucha, he exclaimed, grinning at the magistrate. Then, realizing his rude behavior, he quickly looked down and added, Looking up, I express my gratitude. Looking down, I beg your forgiveness and understanding. A flick of Commander Sue's hand told Chengli that the interview had ended. He and Dakshesh backed out of the room with their heads bowed, as was customary when leaving the presence of anyone higher up on the social scale. Chengli sighed. Everyone was higher up than a camel driver. Outside, Chengli walked along deep in thought, his body hunched forward and his hands clasped behind his back. You walk like an old man, teased Dakshesh. I feel like one, Chengli answered softly. I always thought father was important, but not this important. A famous horseman? A noted singer? When I knew nothing about him, I felt proud to be his son, but now I feel I'm not worthy to be his son. I can't do anything except work with camels, and I surely cannot ride a horse. You might be right, Dakshesh joked, scuffing his feet to kick up a cloud of dust. Maybe you are worthless, but I think your father's spirit must be pleased with a son who came all this way to learn about him. They returned to camp, picked up their dinner bowls, and headed for the group gathered by the fire. Sudarshana motioned Chengli aside. I've got to tell you what has happened, she whispered. Fourth brother told Master Fong that he found a comb, a golden royal comb, on the ground next to your camel. It's from the princess's cart. He said you stole it. Chengli gasped in surprise and dropped his bowl. In 2 leaps, Chengli found fourth brother, grabbed hold of his topknot, and yanked him to the ground. Fist pummeling hard, Chengli yelled, Don't you blame me! I do not steal! Taken by surprise, fourth brother twisted and rolled to face Chengli. But before he could return the blows, Master Fong shouted, Stop! We will have no fighting. Calm yourselves. Speaking more softly, he continued, Chengli, we have no reason to suspect you. Go and eat.